Have you ever wanted custom-made furniture for your home in El Salvador? Are you having a hard time deciding on a good carpenter? Are you stuck not knowing who to ask? Well, I just got 4 pieces of custom-made furniture here in El Salvador, and in this video I'm going to tell you how I did it. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y bendiciones para todos ustedes. Good afternoon, my friends, and blessings to you all. Mi nombre es Charity Hageners. Y acabo de recibir muebles hechos a medida aquí en El Salvador. As most of you are aware, we brought a shipping container from Canada to El Salvador and it arrived in December. Now, we decided almost a year ago not to bring any of our furniture with us, minus a few heirloom pieces. Mostly because we didn't have any really good pieces of furniture that we wanted to bring. I mean, I was an expert at Facebook Marketplace finds, and I loved restoring old furniture and painting it up. I love chalk painting. I got lots of experience with that. But in El Salvador, you go to Facebook Marketplace and you almost don't see any used furniture. And if you do, the prices are not like Canadian used furniture prices. I'm not getting a dining room table for $100 here. If it's secondhand, it's usually probably an antique and they're asking $800 for it. I might as well buy a brand new table. That's what it comes down to. And since the container would take months to arrive in El Salvador, we couldn't put our beds in there or sofa, tables, and chairs. That would mean we were either spending all that time in a furnished Airbnb or we're basically sleeping on the floor, sitting on the floor and having nothing to sit on or eat at or do anything while waiting for the shipping container to arrive. And we actually planned to have our container leave Canada in September while we were in the Airbnb, but we moved in here September 25th. Our container never left Canada until the beginning of October. We didn't get it till the end of December. It takes 3 months. Even if it had left on time, we would have still been about 6 weeks with no furniture. So again, we didn't plan to pack furniture in the shipping container. We planned to buy it all here or to have custom made furniture here. Plus, it's kind of nice to buy new things every now and again, right? And I also like to design furniture. I designed the toddler bed in my daughter's room. I designed our entire kitchen in our house in Canada. I like drawing things. I like designing things. So we always had plans of having some custom-made furniture built in El Salvador with the local wood. Now, I reached out to many people from Facebook Marketplace that were building china cabinets, or what they call here chineros. And I asked them, do you build custom pieces and could you give me a price? Some people replied, no, we don't build custom pieces. Some people said, okay, send me your designs. And then they came back with either no prices, like they ghosted me, or they came back with prices that were outrageous. Like I had a quote, $1,800 for a china cabinet. And the base model of the china cabinet I was basing this from was, I think, $325 or $45 or something like that. So to tell me now it's going to be $1,800 because I'm making it a bit taller, a little bit wider with drawers instead of doors, that's just crazy. So we did have to shop around, and we actually had a guy come out here, looked at, where I wanted to put the furniture. Not that that was important, but just to talk about the details of the finishing and stuff. And he came back. I think his quote was $1,800 for the china cabinet and $1,700 for the entertainment center. And I'm thinking, the entertainment center's got 3 pieces of furniture. The china cabinet's just one. Why is that one more expensive? And also, that was really expensive. So we didn't end up going with him. One thing about the handmade furniture in El Salvador, the drawers typically do not have drawer slides. So you pull out the drawer, like in my vanity in the bedroom, which is called a tocador. You pull it out. If you pull it out too far, the drawer falls out. There's nothing stopping the drawer from coming out, and there are no slides, so it goes tippy up and down. So I didn't want that. I actually wanted real proper drawer slides, and I wanted more drawers than doors because I like to organize the drawers. I'm just kind of a drawer kind of lady. You should have saw my kitchen in Canada. It was lots and lots of drawers. I even put a post on my YouTube channel asking if anyone knew who made this handmade furniture with some of my drawings and tried to get some feedback that way. And again, it was impossible to find people that made handmade furniture, which is wrong because you just drive down any street here and you see people making handmade furniture. So why was it so hard to get some custom built furniture? I don't know, but I did happen to find one guy and he said we should go out and talk to him. So we drove out there, and he's in Aguilares, which is an hour and a half from here. So we drove out there, we met him, looked around at his work and the quality and talked about everything there, and we got to meet him in person. I'd already sent him my designs, but having a face-to-face encounter to ask the more pertinent questions and also to show him examples from the work he already has about what I was talking about, that was really important. So I brought Stan along with me to do the translating because I don't know any of those words in Spanish. I don't know how to say, can you build me this custom build? I could say chinero. Yeah, People typically call the kitchen cabinets pantries, where I looked up the translation, it's gabinet, but nobody ever says that word. So maybe that's just Spanish from Spain and not Latin American Spanish. But it was good to have a stand there to go through the ins and outs of what we were looking for. This place is called Carpintería Jehová Jireh, I think, or Jehovah Jireh Carpentry, something like that. Here's the sign. Now he gave me a quote, and then we negotiated a bit, and talking about the different finishes. We came down to $1,600 for all of it, and $30 for the delivery. So while we were negotiating the price, and I was trying to lower the price by saying we could use plywood on some of the cabinetry and not have to use the laurel wood on all the parts of the cabinets. Maybe just use them on the drawer fronts and the face frame. Now, this is a little bit my fault. Assumptions were made, let's just say that, by me about mixing woods together. Now, I designed our kitchen cabinetry all out of 3/4 inch plywood. And when I did these drawings, I actually did them with 3/4 inch, and he made it out a 1/2 inch. So that was I didn't actually specify the thickness of the wood because all the other cabinets are made with 3/4 inch of the laurel. I made assumptions. When we make cabinets out of partly plywood, partly good wood in Canada, like my kitchen cabinets, for example, the carcass is what we call it, is made out of the plywood. And then you put a face frame on over it, and it covers the edges of the plies. And then you put your doors or drawers or whatever on top of that, made of whatever finishing wood. We were going to use pine in our kitchen in Canada. And then I made a countertop out of epoxy. So I should have specified I wanted the countertop part made out of the laurel wood as well. So I just made these assumptions that when you make stuff out of a good wood and a not so great wood, that you cover up the not so great wood as much as possible, so only the good wood's showing. And I didn't redo my designs to reflect that. My designs had the sides of the cabinet showing, but that was because I originally designed it being made out of laurel wood, and that's fine to show a nice edge of wood. But when the edge is now plies from the plywood, I should have had the face frame on the outside of it. So again, he did exactly, not his fault, he did exactly what I said in my drawings. So when we went to go see the furniture when it was partly done, I was a little bit disappointed because of that. And again, I didn't alter my drawings, and he did exactly what I said. It's no fault of his. So then we just started discussing maybe staining it, so that way the plies wouldn't show as much. And he showed me a few stains, and one was called American Brown, which it looked a little bit more purple in the light, he said, which I didn't really care much for that. But I thought, okay, we'll do the dark color, at least it'll hide some of the plied edges. You won't see it as much. And in order to do this dark stain, it was going to be another $150 more. So I gave him that money so he could do the stain, which made it take a little bit longer to deliver to, because he told me there was a lot of small nooks and crannies to stain. And I realized they actually used a sprayer to stain, and they actually stained all the inside of the drawers too. Now, I would have never done that. I would have just did all the outside parts. They stained every part of the cabinet except for the very back of the cabinet and the very bottom of the drawer. So that was a lot more work than I'd actually anticipated them doing, which was great. It looks really nice. And when we cleaned out the drawers, because they were a bit dusty when we were going to put stuff in it, it does feel like there's varnish on them. I'm not sure, but when we wiped at the dust, the stain transferred onto the cloth. So I actually put a lining of packing paper just in each drawer, just in case any stain transferred onto, if I had something that was fabric. I actually have yarn in some of my drawers. I don't want to have any of the stain transfer. That's fine. I put the paper there. I don't know if it would continue to transfer after I did the first wipe, but just to make sure, I put the paper down. So that was great. And it was actually a lot more work than I thought, because like I said, they did every drawer on around the outside of the drawer and the inside of the drawer, just not the very bottom. So that was a lot of work. There are a lot of drawers here. We have 28 drawers. That's a lot of drawers. So this project took a couple of months to do. We actually went to meet him in February on the 10th, and we just had everything delivered on April 14th. So it took a little over 2 months to do. And that was with the extra time of the staining that we didn't, originally anticipate. He had a little bit of trouble sourcing the laurel wood, and he also had to get enough and let it dry well enough before using it. When we were there the first time, he showed us this cabinet that someone had brought him to fix, that was built with, basically wet wood. And as it dried, it shrunk, and it just basically deformed the whole piece. So they asked him to fix it because he was the good carpenter and he wouldn't, make such a mistake. And we also had the same issue with our tabletop. It's made of 4 big pieces of laurel wood on the top, and as it's dried, since we had it in September, it started opening up. I noticed one of the table legs too has a crack in it. So we were thinking about maybe just taking the tabletop off and just separating the 4 pieces, putting them through the joiner and reattach them maybe with some biscuits or something. So we were thinking about doing that in the future, as we, seeing if it continued to dry and crack more. So I'm glad that he actually was a professional and knew not to do it that way to begin with, right? You use seasoned wood that's well dried out. I was happy he was going to take his time to do it right, because that's what we wanted, good quality furniture. And on the second visit, I also picked up the handles, which I really like. When it arrived on Monday night, the furniture looked massive on the back of his pickup truck. It took up the whole back of the pickup truck, and actually the middle of the entertainment center did not fit in the truck. He had it on the sides of the truck on the back. Amazing. It looked so gigantic when it was bringing it in. The person who made the furniture, his name is Jesus, and he had 3 young fellows with him as well, and they brought all the pieces in. They were all wrapped in cellophane, and they took off the cellophane outside, and then they made some sort of chemical with something that smelled a little bit like paint thinner, and when they brought the furniture inside, they wiped it all down again. He said it was to make it shiny. It also would take off any dust or debris, I guess, and it had a bit of a smell to it for maybe 30 to 60 minutes, and then the smell went away, and that was it. And this furniture was also, somebody had asked me this furniture had also been pre-treated for termites in advance. So if you're wondering about the termite thing, it was pre-treated long before they even made the furniture with it. The furniture was already varathaned. It was already shiny, but whatever they did, they put this stuff on it. I'm not sure what that does, but while they were here, Jesus actually fixed our table. He put wood filler in all the cracks, and they put that same, whatever they were putting on the other stuff, they actually wiped it on the table as well. So I don't know what it was, but he told us not to touch the furniture for a day, like until the next day, before we put anything in it or put anything on it. But the table we could touch right away. So whatever it was, it dried quickly and the smell went away pretty fast too. They did not put that stuff inside the drawers though, so I don't know if that made it so that the stain transferred more easily out of the drawers. If that would have blocked it, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure if the drawers are varathaned inside, so I'm not sure what this exactly does. It just maybe just cleans it, gets the dust off. I don't even know what it is. I should ask him what that actually was in case I ever want to use it to polish up the furniture again. It's sort of like I'm thinking like a wipe-on poly, but it didn't leave it sticky, and they used their hands with a rag. I always used a glove when I used wipe-on poly because it would make your hands so sticky. Not sure. And when they brought the furniture pieces in, I was really impressed. I was very happy with how they turned out. I wasn't as happy when we saw them before they were stained, but once they were stained, I was really happy how they turned out. And they actually end up matching our doors and our door frames in our place here. I didn't even realize it until they came in, like, oh, they actually match really well. Plus, we brought a rocking chair and a high chair from Canada that also have a dark stain. They also match that. Our high chair is actually a 3-in-1. It's a desk and a rocking horse. And I showed that to him, and I told him he should make those as well. So who knows, maybe he'll start making those. And I don't say those purple tones I talked about, even in the different lights, it looks just more brown, which is what I wanted, like a brown black. It's not perfect. I could point out probably every flaw in it because I designed it and I know exactly how it was supposed to be. I can tell you there's a handle that's a bit crooked. A couple of the drawer slides didn't work as well. GJ did take one apart, and I think they were just a little off the rail. He realigned it. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't think they actually used drawer glides in anything. This might be one of the first projects they used them in, because none of the furniture they had at the showroom had these drawer glides, and they work really well. They function really well. And in the end, it cost $1,780 for the 4 pieces, which I think is really good. I mean, it's not cheap particle board. It's not cheap quality. It's done well. It's handmade, very durable, and very heavy. And they're all on casters. So if you need to pull something out because, I don't know, something's fallen behind or whatever, they just wheel out, which is really great. And it's really easy to move them around if we're going to move somewhere else or we want to, move things around. I like changing furniture around every now and again. So if I ever want to move the china cabinet to different locations, it's easy. I just wheel it around. I've already unpacked 20 more boxes just to fill these things up, and I still have not done all the drawers in the china cabinet. I do have a lot of craft supply stuff in my other cabinets, which will move eventually. I'm very satisfied with the work, even though it didn't turn out exactly how I had anticipated it. Again, if I would have readjusted my drawings to account for the fact that we were putting plywood on, he did it exactly how I said it. Did it to a T. So I can't fault him at all for that. It's more my own fault. So I do intend to use him to build us some bookcases and a nice craft cupboard so I can get my craft stuff out of the other cupboards. I will design it with the intent now to have part of it made of plywood and just part of it made of the laurel wood because I really like it, and I'm going to get them stained the same color so everything matches. It'll be amazing looking in the end, I'm sure. So I do totally recommend him. He is along the highway just outside of Aguilares, I guess. There are a lot of carpenters there, so you'd have to look for his specific sign if you want to use him as well, and there's his phone number on the sign as well. And like I said, he even fixed my table while he was here delivering the furniture. He's an amazing guy. I was very blessed to have found him because we did look around quite a bit, and very happy with the work he's done. And again, I will be using him again for the other pieces. So there you go. That is our experience with having custom-made furniture in El Salvador, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like this kind of content, please don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Don't forget to hit the like button.